The game is on the line right now.
And there's no wonder that nobody trusts them.
Throw a little vodka in there, it'd been a lot better.
Honestly, I'm just gonna smile.
I understand their tradition, I understand the helmet and the logo, but we got a logo too. There goes the cheetah! Tyreek Hill!
Where's that Sooner magic now, baby?
What is going on, everyone? It is Keaton It Real here. Keaton Hargett, OK State Probs, the Probs cast. I'm here today with a lovely guest. But before we hop into the guest part, I just need to talk about the greatest college football brand of all time. It beats all others. It's called Home Field Apparel. I did a terrible one from all my video audience. But they got the old logo right here. They're sending me some more stuff. But these are the most badass sweats you can ever see. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but they're the softest apparel. And, man, if you're going to game day, the only way to game day is with Home Field Apparel. They've come out with a bunch of badass stuff, and they've really helped Oklahoma State and, bringing back, some of the traditional logos and things like that. I actually was checking out the shop, and the most sold T-shirt they have is the Tulane shirt, which, in my opinion, is the greatest mascot in all of college sports. It's a freaking green wave with a fist. I'm not the biggest on wearing other brand logos and everything, but dude, Home Field really does it well. So anyways, I'm here today with a lovely guest, probably the most hated individual in the city that I'm in, College Station, Kyle Umlang. Kyle, what's going on?
Hey man, great to be here. I appreciate you calling me lovely. I really like that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Well, as a Texas fan, I always joke and say the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And
Exactly.
I know that a lot of people have their opinions about Texas and the logo and then horns down. And, I feel like Texas is always in that conversation piece, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
You hold the brand really well. You remind people all the time that the number one and number two brands are horns up and horns down.
Yeah, horns up and horns down. That's it. There's no other. I mean, I guess Aggies have Gig 'em, but no one really uses their hand signs as much as they use horns down.
Absolutely. And I do think it is a little, so my father, he grew me up a University of Texas fan. I have photos of me wearing Longhorns gear whenever I was a kid. He was a huge Hook 'em Horns fan. And he even told me as a kid, because I remember seeing these Sooner fans, they did the horns down, and I asked for an explanation from my father. He was like, dude, they don't even have a hand sign. Like they have to do us because Texas is the greatest hand sign, the biggest brand in all of college sports. And I always thought that was one of the coolest things in the world. I was like, dude, they hate us so much that they just flip our sign upside down. But yeah, I feel like you hold it really well and kind of exposing that and showing people, because people look for, a little bit of truth, especially on social media, such as the things that I've learned from you, like Tennessee, they were like, oh, we're the real UT. And you came out with all the stats and statistics, and I'm like, holy shit.
They used to be called East Tennessee State and all. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't have all these name changes and still claim UT. Can't be done.
Yeah. And it's crazy to see the two colors. Personally, I used to think that Tennessee only had fake fans because I had never met one living in Texas and going to school in Oklahoma. Right. I used to just power on that because I was like, I've never met a Tennessee fan a day in my life until I moved to Florida. Where I was working for NASCAR out in Daytona Beach the last year. I met a lot of Tennessee fans, and I would tell them I was from Texas, and they would get me worked up about something that I wasn't even involved in. I was like, yeah, I went to Oklahoma State. And they're like, well, we're the real UT. And I was like, no, you're not. I was like, and stop having me defend Texas, because this is not my job.
It makes me feel gross. Stop doing it.
Yeah, I was like, this is ridiculous. Don't make me defend the University of Texas right now. And I love going to the Texas games, and Oklahoma State has had a really good number against Texas, and a lot of people have.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm not here to get into a full-blown argument on a podcast with Kyle Umlang, because, dude, somehow, some way, I know that your statistics are a little bit more wild than mine. Give me a little bit of insight, man. What year did you graduate, and how did you find yourself in this world?
So graduated in 2008.
Damn, you're old.
Yeah, I'm old, dude.
Well, you look young, man.
Yeah, I don't know how. I guess it's my daily moisturizer. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I followed Texas football ever since I was in high school. I saw them win the championship. Saw them almost win another championship right after college. Then got into the real world, started working, wanted to get into data analytics, and so I got my master's at Syracuse in data science. And
So you just love the color orange.
yeah, during my one of my classes, they were like, you should get on Twitter because there's a pretty big community out there who will like help critique like your work and give you pointers and just grow and bond with you. And so I was like, okay, I'll be on Twitter, and I would post like Texas stats and just all pro Texas stuff. And then Aggies would come out of the woodwork and start like saying, well, okay, well, we're in the SEC, UT sucks and whatever. And so then I had to start switching and going from not strictly pro UT and started doing like anti A&M stuff. And then the anti A&M stuff, everyone loves it. It gets the most engagement of anything I post. So that's why I do it. It's funny. It's fun. My dad went to A&M. My little brother went to A&M. So I've always had like a split household. So I always rag on them all the time. And it's just something I've always loved doing. So now thanks to Twitter and fine folks like you, I have purpose with my Aggie Facts.
Yeah, and I personally bought the book. I know that I sent you a copy of it. I'm currently at my girlfriend's in College Station, like I said. Otherwise, I would flash it off. But yeah, man, I read through the book and I thought it was great, man. I think that a lot of the content you produce can be kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like, you're not going to get to the top without making a couple haters, if that makes sense. And man, you found yourself with a lot of haters. But what blows my mind is, coming to College Station the last couple of months while my girlfriend's lived here, I'd never been before. And they have some great things about them. I think that it's a really fun time whenever you go out. Johnny Manziel's making a bar. I'm going to my first game here on Saturday at Kyle Field. But why is it that there isn't like this huge Texas A&M account that like goes head? I feel like anytime I interact with anyone for Texas A&M, they got 7 followers and all they say is that they're in the SEC and that's the reason they're better than us. And I'm like, none of that makes sense, like at all. Yeah.
Well, I would say it's strictly because, I mean, there are some pretty decent size A&M accounts. There's like Aggies Today.
Maybe an algorithm just won't bring them towards me, so I can thank Elon for that.
Well, I mean, like in the Barstool A&M account is pretty funny, but like they don't have much to say, so it's it's not like I luckily have Texas as my school, so I have lots to talk about, lots of points to be made, lots of rebuttals. But when I say something like A&M's last national championship is closer to the Emancipation Proclamation than it is to today, like what can you like? No matter how big of an A&M account you are, what can you say? You just say, "Oh yeah, that sucks."
Well, and I hear you to that point, and maybe it's just because you kind of have the lucky side of like supporting the University of Texas. But like for example, man, Oklahoma State, we weren't really good at football till about 2010, and we still haven't won a national championship. We got close in 2011, but with a record of 91, 19, and 7. That I have all of Sooner Nation tweet me on a daily occurrence. It doesn't matter what I post about. I feel like it's still a matter of like, let me talk my shit. And like, I feel like I've made a pretty good brand out of Oklahoma State. And I'm just surprised that there hasn't been one Aggie that's been able to do that. And, I think that the Big 12 honestly has the best side of Twitter. My brother, he goes to Arkansas and, he follows you follow him. He runs the Hogs props. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a decent sized account, but like, even he tells me, he's like, dude, the SEC Twitter just sucks ass. So do you think that the SEC is like ready for like a Kyle Umlang and a Blinken Riley to roll into town? Cause I get it. It's just Twitter. Like I
get it. Yeah. But no, I totally agree. The Big 12 has a lot of great accounts. There's you, Cyclone Larry, like
dude, he's a legend.
Even like Tattoo Baker, he can be annoying, but he makes some hilarious memes and some hilarious videos that I just don't have the time to do. So I'm glad he does it. But
you stick more with the stats because it's a little bit easier whenever you're a Texas fan, and Texas has been kicking ass since our grandparents were babies. And so like you got to get a little more creative whenever you're supporting people who weren't good in 1940.
Right. And then when I try to reach out to the SEC accounts. I'm like, hey, who are the big SEC accounts to follow? And like I got like people said SEC StatCat, but he's not really like affiliated with a specific school, and like they don't. Yeah, you're right. They don't have Blinkens or Kyles or Cyclone Larrys or
No, like
Oklahoma
none of
State
them.
They
And
don't have any of
so
that.
weird.
So
yeah,
yeah,
like,
it's gonna be interesting.
The Big 12 really has like dominated social media to a really high level, and it is kind of crazy. Like I had some Houston Cougar fans like that had like their 8 followers, and one of them ranked every like the best college towns in his opinion, but he put Houston as number 1, and I was like, dude, you're just an idiot. I was like I get it. If you have bias, just tell me you have a bias and you have an agenda. Totally get it. I say that all the time. I have no problem saying that. But a lot of these guys coming in as well as leaving, it's just insane. And with that being said, I mean, Texas is. Look, I get it. I joke about Texas is back. I think everyone does because it's been so long,
Dude,
But
they are.
okay, so tell me why Texas is back, Kyle.
Okay, Quinn Ewers. He was already playing at a great elite level until he got injured against Bama. It sucks for him. He came back, wasn't 100%.
By the way, I almost won a shit ton of money off that because I called that. I was like, Texas is going to beat Bama this year. Yeah,
we almost pulled it off without him, but it was just too much of a difference in our backup. Hudson was just not. It wasn't up to snuff. He wasn't up to snuff. So, okay. But he's back. He's 100%. Our wide receiver core is just insane. We just added A.D. Mitchell from Georgia. Isaiah Nair is healthy. He's like the best receiver Wyoming has ever had in their school history. He's healthy. Jordan Whittington's back for like a year 5 because of COVID. He's healthy. Xavier Worthy's healthy. He's in his junior year, and back in the position he likes to play, where he doesn't have to go for deep balls. So I think just that alone, we'll be scoring more points this year. We don't have Bijan, but we've got 3-4 solid running backs hungry to take snaps. So I'm excited to see what they can do. Our offensive line is all 5 starters are returning, which I think hasn't happened since, I don't know, 20 years, something crazy like that.
Well, whenever you're getting paid $100K a year through NIL, just being an offensive
better come
in
back.
Texas, I would probably return too.
Yeah, so they're all coming back. They're all starters, so that's great. Our defensive line is a little stronger this year. I think our worst area is the secondary, but I'm not too worried about it because every school in the Big 12 doesn't have a good secondary because everyone just chunks the ball. So I'm not too worried. But
by the way,
but yeah,
I'm a huge fan of that.
The Sark's in year 3, the defensive coordinator's in year 3. Everyone's jiving. I think Texas has to be back this year. If they're not back this year, I don't know when I don't think they're ever going to be back.
Yeah,
this is the year.
I hear you. And on one of my last podcasts, I talked, and I said there's 2 different ways that you can really win in football today, whether it's professional or collegiate. And the 2 ways are you have to have the coach and the quarterback right, because that's your kitchen, right?
Yeah.
Like you can sell a house if it has a badass kitchen, but they got to redo the backyard or maybe fix up the living room. But you got to have the kitchen right, if that makes sense. And when it comes to the other side, it's you got to have a killer defense. Whether it be the 2001 Hurricanes or the Georgia the last 2 years, that's honestly the way to do it. And that's the reason that I've somewhat argued to an extent on why Texas could be back this year, is because I think Quinn Ewers, outside of playing Oklahoma State, which I'll give Texas a pass, when they play Oklahoma State, it's for some reason
we cannot do shit against Oklahoma State. I don't know why.
It shocks me, by the way. 2018 was my first year at Oklahoma State, and I remember walking into it like, dude, we're gonna get fucking throttled by Texas. Texas number 6 in the nation. Tom Herman's on a roll, and I love Sam Ehlinger. He's very University of Texas. He was a spitting image of Colt McCoy, personality wise. But when it comes to Quinn Ewers not having Oklahoma State on their schedule, not saying that that's a big reason, but he's an absolute stud. I grew up down the street from him. He went to South Lake Carroll. I went to Timber Creek and Keller. And South Lake used to take our lunch money every year. I never got to go. Dude, it was ridiculous. We were everyone's homecoming game. We opened up in 2012. Yeah, we walk into games. There's mums and garters across the way every game. I was like,
every single week.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to play football anymore, guys. Man. And so, but with Sark, I think Sark's an actual coach. You're not getting some BS with Charlie Strong, and you're having like Tom Herman. Texas doesn't want some dude to build up like, oh, he started Houston, he's gonna be great here. That was a mistake. But Sark has a lot of credibility, and Quinn Ewers is a stud quarterback. Even though Sark did want to sit him for Hudson Card to start off last season. Blew my mind. I think he'll be awesome at Purdue, Hudson Card.
For sure.
But I think that Texas actually does have a shot this year. And I like seeing a lot of the readjustments on people's thoughts because, I mean, who really – if you could get it right every year, it wouldn't be as fun and you'd be a millionaire off Vegas. But I'm hoping with Oklahoma State's easy cakewalk of a schedule, I'm sure you haven't looked at it, we play absolutely no one other than OU, that somehow we could wind up in the championship together. But outside of that, man, I think it's awesome that, Texas is kicking ass. I watched every minute of the 49-0 whooping y'all served to Oklahoma. I'm sure Blinken loved that.
That was great.
That's your podcast with him, right?
Yeah.
What's your podcast called? Statistics Pod, right?
Statistically speaking.
Yeah, but you had a different one beforehand. Am I wrong?
No. Well, I also have the Lone Star Showdown with Chance, who's an Aggie, who we do A&M and Texas.
That's
stuff,
what it was. Okay, because I've listened to Statistically Speaking, and I like that one, man. You provide a lot of great facts, and I think everyone has their little spin on it, the best way that they can go. But I really do think Texas can put a dent in what's going on. I think they showed a lot of glimpses of it last year, where it wasn't just like, oh shit, here we go again.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you said you're up in Cincinnati, right?
I think. Yep.
Okay, so you're up in Cincinnati.
So
do people hate you wearing the Texas gear?
The winters suck. Nah, they're just like, oh, you're
even
from Texas. It's Buckeye country over here. So
but
you see more Buckeye stuff than Cincinnati stuff.
Quinn Ewers walked into that state without a ski mask and robbed that university. You're aware of that, right?
Yeah,
he did without a ski mask. That gentleman walked in, and
everyone's got to get their bag. So hats off to him.
I got nothing against it, but I'll tell you one thing. My mother keeps up to football. She likes big headlines. My mother will watch the big headlines, and we'll talk about it here and there. But she's not full on the same way we are, where it's like, well, statistically speaking, if Quinn Ewers wears one white sock and one black sock on Tuesday she doesn't get too wild with it. But even my mother called me once he went to Ohio State. She goes, he's about to rob that university and go to the University of Texas. I feel like everyone kind of understood that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I think he only went there just because Tom Herman was Tom Herman was kind of losing the locker room. And so it was an opportune time for him to try something else first. So I don't fault him for that.
Yeah, and I was a fan of it.
He came back, so that's all I care about.
And you're a big blue blood guy, and I use your blue blood list a lot, by the way. And I think it's awesome that you made that list. And I wish I could shoot it up on the screen right now, but it essentially shows what the criteria is for a blue blood. And even as I guess just more of a college football fan of myself, I'm not so much obsessed with Oklahoma State being a blue blood because number one, I know they're not. But with that list, it kind of reveals, who's at the top, like Nebraska, for example. Nebraska's been shit since they left the Big 12, but they've kicked so much ass. They're still a blue blood, and that kind of shocks people. But with that blue blood list, my point being is you can kind of almost see a shift in powers of the blue bloods going on right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, 2 and 3 decades ago, the Oklahoma, Texas, Michigan, Nebraska, and USC, they were all just killing it. Bama was way at the bottom. I mean, Ohio State's always kind of been there, but yeah, they've been on a roll lately. Georgia's been on a roll. They've been on my blue blood list. They've been creeping up. I've been up.
I keep up with
for
it
4 years now. Yeah, and so they used to be behind Tennessee, behind LSU, but in the last 2 years they've kind of hopped over them. So they're still not technically a blue blood, but they're getting close to the conversation. So it is possible to get into it and get out of it. So, but Nebraska, Nebraska was so insane back in the day. I don't know if you know much of their stats or anything, but I think Alabama is currently holds the record for most consecutive active streaks being ranked. And I think they've been ranked for 200 something weeks straight. They're still 100 weeks away from Nebraska's all-time consecutive ranking record.
People don't recognize
they would have to be.
Bama
has been ranked every week. He's okay.
I don't know with this
He's
with this
fine.
NIL shift, it'd be hard to say that Nebraska could ever make a comeback because there's not a and there's no offense to the state of Nebraska, but like man, there's not a whole lot of NIL opportunity. You look at Lincoln Riley going to Southern California. Why would he want to go there when he's built out? Is he afraid of the SEC? I guess you could say that, but essentially there's a lot of NIL deals there, as well as Mario Cristobal going literally across the nation from Oregon down to Miami. Yeah. Why are guys doing that? And Texas is in a really good situation with NIL, especially watching Texas A&M absolutely fumble the bag and just pay all these kids, creating a terrible culture within the locker room. And Texas is right there. And Texas has $1 billion donors, you know?
So, yeah. As long as we're not doing anything for recruits, like A&M was with that all-time #1 class last year.
Dude, that was bad. Lose to App State, but that's just classic, you know. Like I got a friend of mine. He went to Oregon State, and then he got his law degree from Arizona State. And we were talking about the football season before the season began last year. And he was like, "What do you think about Texas A&M?" I was like, "The same thing you think." He goes, "It's all just a bunch of hype." I was like, they just can't get the job done. And it blows my mind that you can't recruit some kid outside of Johnny Manziel, who originally wanted to go to Texas. They can't get a quarterback there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, A&M is they haven't had a championship since 1939. They're kind of at the point where it's like, we'll do anything, we'll pay anything. We have to become relevant. So I mean, I totally get the Jimbo Fisher historic deal. I don't think it's a good deal, but I understand why they had to pay him that. It's like we gotta show the world that we mean business, but I think they spin on the wrong coach. So we'll see.
And it's so weird too, because like, that it's almost like, God, I'm trying to think about what to compare it to. It's almost like a Deshaun Watson to the Cleveland Browns, and how they overpaid him and it like screwed up the entire quarterback market. It's like that's the wrong time to pay Jimbo Fisher that much money, because now if you can't win in college football in 3 years, you're out the door. I mean, no coach is sitting there, and especially if they're brand new and they're trying to revitalize the program, you'll be the first one out the door because you're the one that everyone's pointing the finger at. And you look at Tom Herman or Charlie Strong, in my opinion, overstayed his welcome. I remember watching the Kansas game when they lost in Kansas, and my dad being like, he's not going to get on the plane to go back home. Does it make you nervous though that Charlie Strong is a part of Alabama?
On the cake.
Does it make you nervous that Charlie Strong's? Well, I mean, he's notorious for giving Texas an L. That doesn't make you nervous?
Well, he's good at defense. I'll give him that. But Bama's always good at defense. I don't think he's better than any other defensive coordinator they've had or defensive analyst they've had. So I think they'll be the same.
Are you going to the game in Tuscaloosa?
No, I had a chance to get tickets, but I'm just too swamped, too busy. Then I was like, then I got to buy plane tickets, and then I got to get a hotel. And yeah, my folks live in near Houston.
So, okay, that's wild to me. I know we talked beforehand that you were working up in Cincinnati, but I just figured you being the biggest Texas fan, you'd want to live somewhat closer to Austin.
Hey, when Del Conte offers me a job at Texas, sure, I'll move back.
Yeah, how does that? I mean, how have you not gotten a job?
I like it.
I know that you posted about something about ESPN and you getting some job there. Was that?
Yeah.
This is somewhat kind of recent.
That was like in 2017. That was like in 2017, and I was going to be like do analytics there, and then they flew me out. I stayed at their ESPN hotel, which is across the street from their headquarters. It was pretty sweet, and then they interviewed me all day, took me out to lunch and dinner, and then they said, we'll give you a call next week. And then I looked, and the whole department was just gone the next week. They closed up the entire division and consolidated a bunch of stuff. And I was like, woo, good thing I didn't get that. That would have sucked.
That's so
we were going to move there and get a house and all that stuff.
You never thought about just doing that full time? Because dude, you're pretty damn good at what you do. You never thought about just taking this full time to ESPN? Retrying it?
It's fun to do. It's fun to do in my downtime, but 24/7, that just sounds like a lot of work. I guess I could do.
Publishing 4 books and running your Twitter account, it just is not enough,
Yeah, but Twitter's easy. You can walk around your house doing Twitter stuff. You can't do that at ESPN or anything. So
that makes a lot of
lot
sense.
easier.
Yeah. And I think that it's awesome. Everything that you do give to Twitter. I think a lot of people, one of my favorite stats that you post is whenever you post there are more Texas A&M fake Kyle Umlang accounts than they have like national. God, I don't remember the statistic fully, but man, it's so funny to see the parodies they make of you.
Weeks ranked number 1 is one.
Yeah, that's has Texas A&M been ranked in number 1?
Not since 1957, but yes, they have 7 weeks total.
That's insane. Yeah, because Oklahoma State, we've only gotten up to number 2 in 2011, but that was the closest.
It's been like
got.
70 years.
70 years, man. It's insane to me.
Yeah, it's been a long time. So
to hear the stats that they give and everything like that, it is funny because I'm hanging around all these red asses down in College Station, which they're all great people. But it is funny because they'll be like, "Oh, well, we were before Texas," and then I'll just go to your Twitter and search something, and my girlfriend finally had to be like, "Hey, stop! We're trying to make friends here. You keep spewing off Kyle Umlang facts."
Yeah, that's not a good thing to do in College Station. But yeah, I had a friend who is like in, I guess, business school in College Station at the A&M. And he got a bunch of my books and put it like all around the campus. It was pretty funny. And people were like, he was trying to pass them out to people, and people were like not taking them.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't take it either, right?
Hey, it's a free book.
It is wild though, because Texas is kind of like hitting a time to be back in a sense, like kind of at the right time going to the SEC. And like I said in the beginning, so many people point the finger at the University of Texas, but it's kind of like going, like whenever you go to sue someone, you go after the dude with the deepest pockets. And I feel like, yeah, of course, there are some things Texas maybe did wrong. There's a lot of things that could have changed. The Big 12 could have like not allowed Nebraska to dissipate, or Colorado, Mizzou. Yeah. Like there's a lot of things that the Big 12 could have done in general to kind of help the conference out. And I think the Big 12 has done a really good job of building back the conference and watching the Pac-12's demise and everything like that. But for the future of college football, I think that personally, the world deserves Texas versus Texas A&M. And on top of that, everyone wants to be a rival of Texas. But in my opinion, it's Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M are the real rivals of the University of Texas. Everything else is kind of made up by any other fan, if that makes sense. But I think it's going to be really cool watching Texas go into the SEC. For sure. If that makes sense.
I know. I'm pumped. It's going to do wonder. It's going to do wonders for recruiting. It's going to do wonders for our annual revenue. It's just going to be. It's good all around for everyone. I mean, except the Big 12. But
yeah, but I mean that's fine because like I was a little nervous in the beginning whenever Texas knew you were leaving because I was like, this conference caked, whatever. But Brett Yormark has done a really great job at, even if we are, because in the beginning I was like, dude, if we're just bringing in 4 G5 schools, who cares? And then I talked to Greg Swaim on my podcast, which a lot of people rip on him, but he was like, why did the SEC go get Texas A&M? And they're like, it's not because they're this powerhouse and juggernaut. It's because they have a huge alumni base that watches their football games. Same thing as Rutgers for the Big Ten and things like that. But the Big Ten's kind of gone astray, and they've gone and grabbed damn near four corner schools. And the SEC has really kind of lived true to just the Southeastern Conference, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah. So I think OU and Texas are a great fit. Yeah. For sure.
And I love that OU's kind of like already in the dumps. And, I don't think Venables is the guy by any mean, even though for some reason we still couldn't find a way to beat him, which God bless America. And the last, I can tell you why. It's the damn logo. It's the same reason we beat the Yankees. Dude, it's ridiculous. I'm wearing a Spencer Sanders jersey right now. He's my freaking boy. I love Spencer Sanders. But, like, God, I mean, on their worst year, and, like, granted, we had more injured players than we've ever had in our history to date. Whatever. I hate using excuses, but dude, like we got to figure out a way to beat them. And because at least in the last one, it's like, well, we won the last one. Kind of like how y'all beat Texas A&M before they left.
Yeah. That you'll be amazed at how far winning the last one can get you. It's got us 11 years now, and it's still like you can't really top it. It's like, well, scoreboard, last time we played,
and listen, we're undefeated against Alabama.
Y'all better beat them this year.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm God bless, dude. Anything that I could possibly
awesome.
do, like to help him. But yeah, we're undefeated against Bama. Now, did they hire Nick Saban like a month later? Absolutely. But by God, we beat Alabama, and that's still going to keep going, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but it's absolutely
definitely
awesome.
you have to beat them this year. Yeah.
I mean, it's the last bedlam, right? And I for some reason I have 4 season tickets, and I'm only
Yeah.
going to like a couple games this year. Somehow I wound up in that position, but I really wish, because we only play one Texas school and it's Houston, which really kind of screwed me because I just moved back to Texas. But I really wish we could have gone back into Austin. Man, I had an absolute great time. My girlfriend went to Austin one of her first weeks here, and she was like, "Oh, it's so dirty, it's so this." I was like, "Well, you went with a bunch of Aggies
Yeah.
that are probably going to show you the worst part." That way, it's a little, and I get it. You got an agenda, dude. Do whatever you can to get people recruited to like your school and give your school money. I'm not opposed to that by any
for
means
sure.
whatsoever. But dude, I love going to Austin. It's an absolutely great time.
Yeah. Yeah. So 6th Street can't be beat by any college bar scene. It doesn't matter where it is. 6th Street is top notch.
Yeah, and everything's focused around
you go
the
to a
University
different
of
school,
Texas.
it's like, oh, we've got 3 lined up in a row. That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're a big city type of guy.
So,
that makes sense. But yes. Keep talking.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Nothing. I was rambling. Keep going.
Oh no, I was just saying we need to catch a game or something soon. Next
Yeah,
time
I mean, I'm
you're
100% down to
in the
go to
Midwest,
any,
or next time I'm near you.
Yeah, and I really hope that, by the time the Texas versus Texas A&M comes around, both of us can be at that game. I'll remain a little bit more neutral than anything, because I mean, for this game that I'm going to, especially with me being a part of the NIL collective for Oklahoma State, I was trying to support my girlfriend in some way. So all I got was a shirt that says "I miss Johnny Manziel," which is a true fact. I do miss Johnny Manziel, man. He was a hell of an electric quarterback, and I know that you probably don't like him, but
Yeah.
dude, it's Johnny Football. You can't get a better nickname than that.
He's fine. He's fine. He didn't have to play us, and we didn't have to play him, so I like him.
I know, but what a sham, dude. How much fun would that have been to watch Johnny football? I mean, I guess it wouldn't have been that great because Texas didn't do that good the year that Texas A&M joined the
It would have been fun for
SEC.
us. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It deserves. I'm surprised it's not like at a neutral site or something like that, like such as the Red River rivalry, but it almost feels like it needs to be the most intimidating atmosphere for either school that goes there.
Yeah, there's too much hate and too many ties to family in this one, so I kind of like that it's not at a neutral site, because you get to just feel the hatred oozing off of everyone as you walk into the stadium. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, so you've been to a lot of Texas A&M Texas games, but in comparison, what's the big difference between the Red River rivalry and then the Lone Star shootout?
So the Red River rivalry is great because Oklahoma is always good, and beating them means you're either hopping them in the conference or, fighting for a shot at going to a natty or something. That happened several years in the 2000s. And when you play A&M, it's more like who's going to have bragging rights for a year. It doesn't mean anything else beyond that. It's never, we're never fighting for the championship or fighting for the top spot in the division. It's always just who can have bragging rights for a year. So it's kind of different. OU feels a lot better to beat OU than does A&M.
Yeah, I hear you on that. They probably hate that you say that because they want to be a bigger game than it is. And one of the first things I noticed was the war hymn was completely about the University of Texas, and they got mad at me whenever I said that. And I was like, it's all about the University of Texas. And they hate y'all and y'all hate them. And I think that's what makes college football beautiful. You have those great opportunities to kind of show out and, the bragging rights and things like that. But other than that, man, I know that I said it was about 30 minutes about how long we were going to go. But just to close out, definitely give a shout out to like your book, your Twitter handle, and your podcast, man.
Yeah. I got 2 podcasts: Lone Star Showdown podcast and Statistically Speaking podcast. They're on my profile. You can find them there. I've got 3 Aggie Fact volumes out. They're at Amazon, and if you're in Austin, they're at the Co-op, which I'm doing a book signing in November before the Kansas State game there. So come say hi.
Dope, dude.
And then
I'll get that.
And Sue Patrick is another awesome store in Austin with Longhorn gear. They also have a bunch of copies there, so you can get them anywhere that I just mentioned. And then also check out Meat. It is Winsipedia on steroids. I am very surprised that I have tried so hard to get it off the ground because it is.
I'll put the link down below.
Yeah, it is Winsipedia, but you can change the time frame to whatever you want. So it's like, oh, let's do Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. But when you go on Winsipedia, it's all time record, so it's all just red, and then Oklahoma State doesn't have anything. But you can toggle it in Meat. You can say, let's do Oklahoma and Oklahoma State for the last 10 years. Let's see who has the most top 20. It's top 25 wins. It's conference championships. It's FBS wins. It's weeks ranked top 5, weeks ranked top 10. It's all sorts of. There's more stats, and you can change the time frame, which is the difference between it and Winsipedia. But the only thing is, I did it all by myself using free software, so it is not available on mobile. The mobile version is not even. Don't even try to use it.
And no one uses their mobile phone for any of that, so you're probably in a good situation, only keeping it on desktop.
Dude, I don't know. No one. I've never seen
Why can't get it on mobile, dude?
Someone needs to pay me to pay for a site that can actually. I'm just using free Tableau Public stuff.
Awesome.
I don't have my own website or anything yet.
You're so damn creative, man. That's
someone give me money and I'll make it a website and it'll be mobile friendly. How about that?
We'll figure it out. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. And hopefully
anytime, man.
We'll meet up in the conference championship.
Oh yeah. I'll send you the link to Meet.
Awesome. And I'll post it down below. So everyone, thanks again for tuning in. It's Keaton Hargett, the Probscast. Make sure you like, subscribe, whatever you're listening on Spotify. I've even posted live streams on Twitter, but YouTube for sure, because I want to get paid. So appreciate y'all. What's going on? And before I peace out, I just wanted to make sure that, I was kind of a little bit more down to earth, letting y'all know what's going on. I did pair with Home Field Apparel. They really are like the greatest brand out there right now. Homefieldapparel.com. I got it ticking down below for all my video audience. But use code word PROBS, PROBS at your checkout. You really do get 15% off. And I know that it's a little bit tougher for my audio audience. If you are listening on audio, please go and subscribe to my YouTube. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. Just because I'm trying to get paid off this. And anyways, for the video audience, look, they did like the throwback Pistol Pete logo, which was like dope. And like, I wish this camera could like pick it up, but it really is like the softest material I've ever felt. They're sending me a couple extra t-shirts. I'll probably do a giveaway or something like that, but I can't be more thankful for y'all and everything that y'all give to me to where I could actually get a brand deal. And thank you so much to Home Field Apparel. If you're listening to this, it's only up from here. And I love the community that we've kind of built here for Oklahoma State. So definitely go give homefieldapparel.com a check. Like, go check it out. Even if you're not an Oklahoma State fan, they have it for every school, and it's dope, man. It really is, and I really appreciate everyone listening. So y'all have a good one. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow. Check out homefieldapparel.com. Use code word PROBS, PROBS, and So I really appreciate y'all.
The game is on the line right now.
And there's no wonder that nobody trusts them.
Throw a little vodka in there, it'd been a lot better.
But honestly, I'm just gonna smile.
I understand their tradition. I understand the helmet and the logo, but we got a logo too.